Greetings and welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara
and Eric.
We are so glad to see you again, and today's topic is we are all transitioning into our next steps. Barbara, we just had an amazing hour-long conversation before even starting here. I think it was going to go even longer until we were like, we should probably record this podcast.
Yeah.
I guess it's been a few weeks since we've met, and a lot has gone on in our lives since then. A lot of transition. So
right.
Seems like an appropriate topic to talk about. And I imagine that everyone out here has been transitioning too. I mean, we're just starting the new year of 2025.
Gosh.
And by the way, I intentionally chose to wear red today. You have any idea why?
Empowerment.
We could go with that. I'll take that as well. I mean, it's not technically the day, but Chinese New Year.
New Year, of course
it
is.
The other day, and if I remember correct, it's the year of the snake.
Year of the snake, and what is a snake?
It is shedding its skin and a symbol of transition.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not only is the New Year our American New Year transition, but this Chinese New Year is a transition, and every day of our lives is a transition. We're always changing.
We are constantly always changing. Nothing ever stays the same. But I want to go back to the snake.
Okay.
And the snake for me is one of my spiritual power animals. In fact, it's my root. And when I discovered that I had a root chakra, that was the snake that freaked me out until I settled down and read what it was. In the medical field, you will find a doctor's sign with the caduceus of the snake. A snake is a healing entity. They are the sign for healers. It is my prayer, our prayer, that the snake energy of the Chinese New Year land on top of everybody for healing, wholeness, happiness, and just continuing transitioning into who and what you've come to be for your highest and best opportunities on the earth plane.
Thank you for sharing that. And I was sharing a dream with you that I had earlier this morning, and I won't explain the whole main part of the dream, but the very end of this dream ended with this beautiful king cobra snake. It was a blue one with a white belly just staring up at me, looking ready to attack, but I was not fearful of it for some reason. And a lot of it I feel was my Munakai class that I was involved with last year, where I learned a lot more about my connection with the earth, the heavens, the four corners, and also archetypes. And one of them is the serpent. And I feel like through our Western culture and understanding, there's a lot of fear behind the serpent. The serpent was the devil in the Bible that tricked Adam and Eve and type of thing. Yeah. But it's not that. It's not seen like that in especially Eastern cultures.
Yeah.
But they view it a totally different way. It's an animal that is constantly has its belly against the ground. It's very grounded, a healing symbol, as well as you mentioned, as far as doctors having that symbol there,
caduceus, sure.
And also a symbol of metamorphosis and transition. And it's really a beautiful animal, and I love whenever I see these black racer snakes that are here over in Florida where we're at. They're so good for our ecology. They keep all the other insects and bugs in check, and they're part of this world.
I'll tell you a funny snake story just real quick.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I came home late one night and I had this snake that looked, for all intents and purposes, like a coral snake. And what it had done was gone up the bricks on the side of my house. It had snaked its whole body halfway up the bricks because the bricks were warm. And it's 11:30 at night. I've got my headlights on this thing and I'm like, oh boy. What am I going to do? If this is a coral snake, I'd probably like to relocate it. But I can't remember which on the head means dead. So I asked my angels to tell me, and it came up with black on the head means dead. And I'm like, yahoo, it's a redhead. But before I actually did anything, I called my brother-in-law, who is a herpetologist.
Smart. Okay.
And he identified it as a scarlet king snake, and instructed me to please take care of it, put it back into the bushes so that they can pick back up in numbers. And so I had people with me, and they came jumping out of the car. I'm getting ready to reach for the head of this snake, and I'm getting ready to grab it. They are having a heart attack. They're thinking, I'm going to get bit. I'm going to die. What if you're wrong? But da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I have trust. I have trust. And I wound up not even having to hold on to her. It was a female snake. I put my hand up there, and she crawled over my hand and came back around my arm to where I just carried her out into the bushes and let her go. Now, this is years of living with my brother-in-law, the herpetologist, and, having absolutely no fear of snakes. They don't chase us. They don't hurt us unless we step on them first.
Yeah.
And, they've got a really, really bad rap. And a snake transmutes energy and transcends it. These are aspects of always re-upping, always moving forward, always going to the next step on our journey. And I'm not telling everybody go out and get a snake, for crying out loud. No, don't, please don't. But I'm asking you to consider, looking up, what does a spiritual power animal snake mean? And some of you might find that you are drawn in that direction. We should do a power animal.
Absolutely. You have a lot of knowledge in that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's actually real fun too. But anyway, back to what we're talking about is life constantly transitioning. And Eric, my dear friend, you are transitioning into something spectacular and wonderful, and I'm so proud that you followed your heart. And I think that the floor is yours.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, the past 2 weeks have been definitely an upward slope, but I was kind of down in that valley for the past month. I was feeling really lost, even some sense of unworthiness, and I couldn't exactly place where was this coming from. But I had the opportunity to recently move to a new church to serve as music director there. It's another Unity church. It's one over at Unity of Daytona. And prior to that, I was over at Unity on the Space Coast over in Titusville. Such a lovely church. And I was there for 6 years and served 4 years on the board. And it turns out that last day that I was on board was the time to move to the next step. And I had that calling to work with that minister. I don't think she'll mind me saying that, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson. Such a powerful spiritual leader, and she has this great podcast called Soul Works, and just amazing human being. And I had that calling a couple of years ago to work with her. It just the timing, the alignment of the distance, it just didn't seem to work at the time. But I just knew that, like, hey, one day I would like to do that. Mm-hmm. And then I got that calling a few weeks ago, and the official calling, I suppose, and it was challenging. I said, hey, give me 24 hours, and I stayed up most of that night. I kept on going back and forth. I was dealing a lot with my ego in terms of, I think the two primary things were fear and guilt. Guilt of not serving a community anymore that has done nothing but love on me and let me do anything that I've wanted to do musically. And also just the fear of doing something unknown. So that combination was keeping me to be very stuck and in the void. And I kind of beat myself up a lot off of it. And I started getting to a sense, kind of depressed, because I felt like I lacked a path forward. I was unable to see right from left. Everything was just blurring together. It was so unknown. And I was telling you about this podcast that I listened to about a week ago, and I still need to share it to you, and I'll try to make a link to it too. But it was, I think, when I was about at the lowest, something that really got me out of there. It was one that was talking about feeling lost, and the person who was talking about it, I think he's actually a video gamer, if I remember, but he just mentioned that, hey, it's okay to be in that area and recognize it and know it, that you're in that position right here and right now, because there's really no, for most cases, no emergency to where you have to make a decision right here, right now.
Right.
But like sometimes you can let it sit for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, if needed, and give yourself that grace to do that. Sometimes with big decisions, we have that pressure to make a decision right away, and by giving ourselves a little bit more grace just to be in that moment of feeling lost and unsure, and feeling what that is to feel like in the darkness, and to start being comfortable and associating what that darkness is, that when the light shows up, you start recognizing that, and that was really just helpful, just to have a little bit of permission to feel that way. So if any of y'all out there are down in that valley, feeling out and lost, I'm gonna try to share that link, and just know that others have been there before, and after going through that season, I definitely have a lot more empathy for others going through that. And now that I'm getting out of that valley and climbing forward and taking action, it feels great. And
Good.
And this might be more for guys than girls, but for guys, having a purpose, a mission, and taking action is a big part of masculinity. And feeling worthy as a man. And I was, by the way, I'm a music teacher. I teach private. I have a private studio, and I set up a couple of recitals. And I got so close to canceling these recitals. And I was talking with my girlfriend the other day, and she says, "Why were you feeling that? You've done this before. It's not that hard. It's not you've done it. You've done great with it." And I'm like, "You're right. I have done it before. I have done that, but I was just feeling such resistance. It just felt so hard, and felt like I was getting in the way of myself. But it was difficult. But I'm really glad I ended up pushing through. I just had my first recital, the practice recital, last Sunday, and it went beautifully. It was over at a senior citizens home, and those little kids made that older generation so happy and so uplifted. And then we have our official one in a couple days, and I'm really glad that I moved forward and took that action, even though I didn't want to. That being said, at the same time, there are times whenever you should not take action, whenever it does not feel right.
Agreed. I want to go back to two powerful things that you said.
Okay.
I felt guilt and I felt fear.
Yes.
Guilt for leaving people who only loved me, supported me, cared for me.
Mm-hmm.
Those people who loved you, supported you, and cared for you still did. Their opinion has never changed. There is no such thing as guilt. Guilt is for people who purposefully go out and try to harm another soul. We are in the human condition, and we constantly fall back into the negative things that we've walked through before. Guilt, oh my gosh, I'm leaving, and now I feel like I'm making a mistake. I'm fearful. What da-da-da-da-da-da. The truth of the matter was, I read a couple of the comments. We are so happy for you. We want your highest and your best, and we celebrate you moving forward on what your path is bringing for you. And when you're in a funk like that, even reading that, it's like, oh yeah, right. Getting down to that, we have got to remember that we are in a transitional state. You're going to run the gamut of many, many, many different things. And, let's go to fear.
Sure. Before we go to guilt,
Sure.
I want to affirm what you were saying as far as anytime I shared with a congregant or a staff member or a board member where I was going, they were all on my side. They were excited for me.
Yes.
Yeah, that they were going to miss me, but they could see that was the right path for me to choose. And I guess all I can say is if you have a calling, in this case that's pretty specific, but whatever it is in life, to be a veterinarian, to be a firefighter, to whatever it is, and you have that calling, the people who are true friends, they're going to support you. They're going to say, yes, go ahead and do that. I want you to be happy, and I'm going to celebrate you moving forward on that journey.
Absolutely. And by the way, here's a step up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what people who, the difference of, okay, so in the human condition, that's the difference between moving with your heart versus moving with your head. Once you get down into the heart of what is yours to do, and you know what is yours to do, you don't even have to question because your heart already knows. It's your head that keeps fighting against that heart. And finally, we just have to have Mr. Head shut up because Mr. Heart knows the truth because we have the heart of our Creator. God.
I was going to say this for next episode, but I think I need to go here now, and I apologize. I don't remember the podcast that I saw this, but we'll try to link that. It's the one that I shared with you 2 days ago, and it's 90 minutes of so much material. I probably only took in 8-10% of it. But one thing that I learned through recent scientific discovery is that not only, of course, does our brain have neurons, millions of neurons, our heart does also, and they never cared to look because they always assumed that the neurons were always in our brain. So it's almost like we have two brains. We have a mind-centered brain and a heart-centered brain, and they accept truth in different ways. Our mind brain tends to deal with dichotomies. Either this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is evil, those type of things, where our heart-centered brain can just accept what is ours to do, what is our calling. And I guess it was like a truth that I always kind of knew in the background, but I never thought about the scientific way,
Right.
Okay, a heart's just a muscle, whatever, but if it has neurons in it, wait a second, that's communicating with something out there.
This is science.
With everything out there.
I'm sorry, honey.
Yeah,
this is science catching up with spirituality.
Yes.
Okay. Eric, I don't even know how to explain this, but the things that I receive from spirit, if somebody was to ask me to explain how I got that, who said it, why, but I would not have an answer for you. I'm heart-based, and I have allowed myself to remove the chatter of my mind and move that aside and allow God and the angels in the spiritual realm to move in and through me, through my heart space, in order to bring forth information. And now I love that science is catching up. They're a little bit slow, but at least we're finally saying, look, it's been this way all along. You're just finally able to see it in black and white so that the professors can agree with the spiritual people.
Absolutely.
And so forth and so on. So, yeah.
And I was sharing with you earlier in our talk before the podcast as far as why you might have certain ones of those gifts. And another part of that podcast that I was mentioning a few minutes ago was dealing with DNA and how scientists are now conceptualizing our DNA as being fractal antennae or antennas or receptors, fractal receptors. Mm-hmm. And like an antenna, what it does is it tunes into a specific station, right?
Right.
And it's that one station. But with our DNA, it's such a long strand of that DNA, and each of these DNA parts are fractals, are reflecting at different angles, different sources, and they're receiving different energy from different parts. And our human divinity allows us to then process all that into what we understand as being our world right here. So I think that each of our DNA is slightly different, and some of us, like yourself, are maybe gifted with certain DNA that is able to receive information that maybe others don't yet have the ability, or
it's not theirs to do maybe in this lifetime. We come with our what we're going to do, what we're going to learn, but while we're here, we get to decide.
Right.
If you want to turn on your ability to have intuition or mediumship or healing or that, all you have to do is speak it.
Yeah.
Because obviously I believe in past lives. And somewhere back in my DNA, I'm remembering things that I have known before and bringing them forth and making them larger. We are constantly transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we have to sit in the moment and call forth that which we have forgotten for thousands of years, it's still part of our experience. And we're getting way, way big here. But the point being, we are spiritual beings first.
Yes.
And in this human condition, we can choose to allow that spirituality to grow and lead and be, or we can be more earthbound and choose to live in the everyday life and the different aspects that the earth plane brings to us and people. And the point is, it's a choice.
It's nice to know that we have a choice.
Yeah. Free will.
Free will. And then choices can be sometimes hard, like I was mentioning before, whenever I was in that darkness, that void, that valley, that moment of being able to see left from right. I wasn't able to make a choice. Like, the idea of making that was just like so like stunning. It seems almost, I don't want to say the word silly now, but seeing it from the other side now, yeah, I was in a moment of paralysis.
You're in a moment of growth.
That's exactly what it was.
A moment of growth.
Because if you think about, and I'm glad that you used that analogy, an analogy I'm going to use is a seed, because a seed grows, and whenever a seed first grows, you can't disturb that thing. No. You got to let that thing just germinate, and you don't want to mess with it for the first little bit.
Dig it up and see how it's going. You just kind of ruined it, right?
Exactly.
You just got to let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, coming back to fear.
That's exactly where I was going back. Thank you for...
Fear is something that it's like we have a knee-jerk reaction to go immediately back to. Well, here's what I'm going to ask you to do the next time we fall back into fear. I have to do it too. Trust me. I do not know everything. I don't pretend to know anything. And I am as human and hard-headed as anybody else. All right? But I have learned along the way that if something is causing me deep fear, I'm going to follow that fear all the way to the end of it, and I'm going to face it. What is the worst possible thing that this fear is going to show me? What are you showing me? What am I to glean? Why are you causing this reaction in my body? And most of the time, it falls away. It's the fear of something occurring. It's not something actually happening in the moment. It's your mind creating something out of a fear-based reaction that gets blown into a great big event that 95% of the time will never even come to pass.
Yeah, I relate with that, especially with the piano recitals. For me, I felt like, oh, originally I was trying to have one during Christmas time, but having that during the Christmas season is just really difficult logistically because kids are on all sorts of different things. And parents are, it's just not the right type of season.
Right.
So I was worried that they wouldn't want to do it because it wasn't Christmas time. I was worried that maybe I had scheduled it too late, like I did not give them enough time. I was worried that they might not just be interested in it. There was just a lot of like unforeseen worries that did not come to fruition. All the students were very excited about doing that. All the parents were. Of course, there was a few due to certain circumstances that couldn't make it, but the first recital was attended well. This next one's going to be attended well, and the right people will be coming. So it was the fear of the fear of imagining these situations and projecting these untruths that was getting in the way of myself.
Bingo. Bingo. When you are faced with fear, I don't want you to move in that moment. I want you to go down. I want you to put on the bravest heart that you have. I want you to go to the absolute worst case scenario. What could happen? Well, yeah, we could all cross over. And a friend explained it to me like this. She had stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I was beside myself thinking I was going to lose my friend. However, she was her own healer because she said, Barb, if I heal, I get to be with my loved ones and my friends and my pets and all the places that I like to go and do and see. But if I cross over, then I get to be with my friends and my loved ones and the animals and all of the places that I've been in. So it's kind of a win-win situation. Our goal is to take the fear out of living. Stop worrying about the nth degree because you're not there yet. Mm-hmm. When the fear is coming, look at it. Why am I scared? Oh, well, because this happened before and this happened before and this happened before. Well, yeah, but what happened after that? Basically, these things that you feared in the past are coming up and they're showing up again in your life because they're coming up to be healed and released from your human experience from now on.
Our conversations always come back around to fear and eliminating that. And I'd fear because I'm a human, just like the rest of us. And,
I would have too.
And but I'm glad that I experienced that, and that transition, that growth has made me recognize that fear and also that guilt. So for a similar maybe a similar situation, who knows? But for situations that I go into that valley again, I'll be better equipped now that I have gained more experience.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And
when we're transitioning, the choices that we make are if you're making them from your best heart in the best place, you're doing the right thing. Even if 40 years down the line you might say, well, maybe I should have done something different. If you made it from your highest self, from your best heart-centered place, with the information that you had at that moment, because remember, the information that we had right now is different than the information that we had 20 years ago. We're only able to go based on what we know, and as we grow and transition, we know more and more, right, which then influences our choices. So it's just a reminder to be true to our calling, be true to our highest and best selves when possible.
Dare to be fully human and get rid of fear. It was a man created way of manipulating other men. I'm not talking the fight or flight fear. Let's just be straight.
Yeah.
But fear was created in the minds of thousands of years ago of the uneducated, and they blindly followed and believed what their elders and they were told. And, that created a mindset of either you do this or you die. Because back in the day, that's exactly what would happen. If you went against, the higher ups, you would be put to death. That's there in the DNA somewhere too. Somewhere also. So,
and for certain populations, way more recent than others.
Isn't that? Yes. Thank you. And I'm not trying to minimize anyone's fearful experiences. I'm trying to create a place for you to go to call out that fear and see what it really truly is. If it's old stuff, cut the head off. Let a new flower bloom bigger and better. Let the plant flow higher, and that fear will be gone. You just, after we take care of the fear and we know what it is, when our brain tries to bring it back to us, because this has been a habit for a long time, you need to do something to catch yourself before you let that come back in.
Yes.
Something like a bracelet. All right, I have let that fear go. The next time it tries to come, all right, I'm just going to move this bracelet over here. Tell it, sorry, it's got to go. I'm going to do this for 21 more days, right? And if I start to feel judgmental or fear or this or that or the other thing, and I fall back, all right, well, I'm going to take my bracelet off. I'm going to put it back over here, and I'm going to start my 21 days over. You get tired of having to move your bracelet back and forth. You get tired of having to start over, and you automatically allow that which is meant to be to be.
That's a really practical way of eliminating that. One that takes some work of moving back and forth and makes you recognize those patterns in your life. Thank you for showing us.
Absolutely. Mind, body, and spirit working together is the human condition.
That's right. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Well, should we finish up with the prayer for protection?
I think that is absolutely way to go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God.
We love you so much, and please know that you are not alone in your transitioning times through life. See you next time.
Mwah.